Okay. This is working. Yes? No? I don't see. Ooh. Ooh. How interesting. How absolutely wonderful. Okay. How do I get the URL for this? I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Wait, okay, so someone's watching. And I'm pretty sure that's just me. There has to be a way to grab a URL for this, right? What? Okay. I can just go to my own channel and like take the link, right? I don't have to be I don't have to be absolutely illiterate. Yeah, okay. So I can just take this. Oh, I just heard myself. So I can take this. And then I can go to my Discord. Wait, no. I should probably go to Twitter first. God, I should tweet less. Okay. Yeah, okay. Okay. And then add everyone in the server. Make sure to add Uwu. Where's that coming from? Oh, that's probably just the lo-fi. I will abuse the fuck out of add everyone. So that's good. What else? We recommend that you use it. I don't know what a bit rate is, okay? If it's doing, then then I am good. I'm not really sure how to keep track of chat at the same time. It's not like I have multiple monitors. So I will probably try and open this on my phone just in case anyone tries to stop by and needle me about things and stuff. Wait, is it not working? Why do I not see it on there? There we go. Okay. I define this. And testing. Oh, yes. But if you want to hang, by all means. Smiley face. Save. There we are. Okie dokie. So I'm just gonna keep drawing. We're fine. I think it's working out. Sketch. Okay. I can click this. Come in here. Should we lower actually. I think just how do I put this? Like, oh, we're not there yet. I think this will be like mostly the same as the face, but like I have like hair that goes like this, and we'll figure out how to angle that later. Damn. You know, I actually don't know how fucking streamers deal with this. I'm supposed to talk the entire time? God. I mean, mad respect for like I like watch who's it? Hassan quite a lot. How does your hand look when you put it like that? I'll grab a reference. But anyway, I watch like I wasn't really a streaming person actually. I think the only reason why I actually got into watching streams was more because like during the uprising over the summer, I would like keep up with what was happening like on the ground in all the various cities through all these different live streams. And I just kind of figured, well, hand on neck. I just kind of figured like this is like a pretty decent way to engage with content, and I never stopped doing that. So it's like that, right? It's just about getting the general shape correct is really the whole point. This is just base sketch number 2, right? So yeah, I haven't really been watching like streams for very long, but I guess, oh no, I'm gonna out myself. Before that, I watched, well, no, even when I like found Vaj, it was like, I would watch the VODs way more than I would show up to streams, you know? But yeah, but after this is so ass. After the uprising, I started watching more streams on Twitch, and then I watched like Hassan and stuff, and he makes it seem really easy. Like he just talks like the entire time, like for like 12 hours or something. That's really impressive to me. Is this? Wait, I don't think this is. Dang, no wonder my lines look like shit. This is like not my stupid tablet. Okay. I'm gonna have to like reopen GIMP, I think, to get this to actually act like a tablet and not like a glorified mouse. So that sucks. Can this like work? No? Okay. I'm not sure. Can I like change which window this is? Here, I need to find, I'll find a good screenshot. Cause I have like a bunch of screenshots of things. Oh, here's a good screenshot. But I have no idea how to. Okay, oops. Because I need to. No, don't. I would like it if just for once in my life technology would cooperate. But basically, I need to restart the program that I'm streaming. And I need to show something that is not my face or black screen. So okay, there we go. Here's Nini and Noel while I try and figure this out. So let us, no, file, save as, there we go. Puppets. Oh, thanks. I'm having a pretty good day. How are you? Let's say I do here, save this, copy this, discard changes. Now open GIMP again. Also, I'm assuming that my audio is working out because I like tested this just by like exporting a video and it sounded pretty good. But if anyone's got like tips in chat for something sounding weird, just let me know. Is it going to cooperate? Ooh, it is. I have brushes now. Haha. I'm literally invincible. Holy shit. Look at that. Amazing. Okay. So we will switch back to this. Oh, cool. We will switch back to this. Yeah. So see, as you can see before, all these lines, even though it's just like the sketch, all these lines are like thick and bad. But now look at this. Look at this. Watch. Variation, like a tablet is supposed to do. Okay. So this is really just like, if you think about it, it's like, it's just like this kind of shape, like that, and then it's got like fingers coming out like this, right? So ultimately I drew it bad, but I mean, to be fair, like the definition on a pencil is like kind of hard to get right. Like that, right? And then like this, like down like that. Down. Feel that. Like that, and then like out like this. And then maybe this is actually kind of tricky. I have no idea. Dang. Maybe if I was better at art. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Well, I mean, if I was better at art, it would of course be easier. But I guess what I mean is I try not to think too negatively, simply because what I am able to achieve is kind of perfect for what I'm doing. Like, I'm not trying to make a living on drawing or anything. I just want to draw some cute, like, puppets and stuff, so that when I release my next video essays, they look cool and charming. That's all. And if that's the case, then I'm perfectly capable of getting this done. Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like a lot of artists, especially like the ones you see on like Instagram and stuff, they have like a much narrower skill set than you would think just by like following their stuff. But the thing is, they like know what they're good at, right? And then so they and I'm not saying like, oh, the entirety of Instagram art is like a lie or whatever, like online art. What I am saying is that in order to actually like be successful in an industry, you like play up your strengths, and then you leave your weaknesses for yourself so that you can improve, right? So, but when you take people who are only showing you their best all of the time, and you compare them to yourself, and you see, well, I do. What do I want to say? And you compare them to yourself, and you see like all of the things that you do. Then you're like, well, dang, I must be categorically worse than this other person. That's not true. I'm also really bad at floofy stuff. Anyway, Jupiter, I'm not sure if you left. I think you probably did. But thanks for... What? Thanks for stopping by. Hope you have a good time with your homework. What is happening here? What? Something selected? What is this? What? Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Okay. Well. I think it was still selected. That's the only thing that made. Oh, okay. But yeah, it was still selected. All right. Enough about art. Let's talk about. God, this sleeve is so bad. I'll fix it. Let's talk about communism. Right. I don't know. I'm not sure. How do people even talk about political stuff? Well, what's the political thing that happened? Oh, we could talk about the coup. Do you want to talk about the coup? Oh, I got you. But yeah, okay. We'll talk about the coup. So I think I was actually watching Bad Empanada's video, How Bolivia Won. So the thing about Bad Empanada, I have mad respect for him because like all his content is like good, but he's like really aggressive on Twitter. Like I used to think that like I was fairly aggressive on Twitter, but he's like constantly picking fights with like every single person. Right? It doesn't matter who, it doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter why. Bad Empanada is picking a fight. Right? So it's kind of gotten to the point where it's like Bad Empanada, the YouTube personality, and Bad Empanada, the video, the Twitter person are like two entirely different people. Hold on, I'm just grabbing a reference to use. So anyway, this is pretty good. So anyway, he did How Bolivia Won, and one of the things that struck me is like how similar. Let me check my audio. Yeah, how similar. How similar. Gosh, I'm really bad at this. How similar the Bolivian coup was to what the current U.S. president is trying to do. So like he pointed out, for example, that like the Bolivian right used the fact that a lot of the indigenous precincts would report much later than like the big cities, which are kind of wealthier and whiter, and vote towards the right. And so then the OAS kind of claimed that, well, you know, isn't it suspicious how all these late votes that came in like went to MAS and not like the opposition? Clearly there's fraud. Clearly something needs to be implemented here. And so I think, like, again, and this is kind of what I've been maintaining since since when Trump, actually since even before, but like especially when Trump decided on the night that he won, the thing that I've basically just maintained the entire time is like, well, he's going to try and like coup the country. I think it's easy to look at like it's easy to look at how silly a lot of it looks. Like you can look at Rudy Giuliani's witness and how she was like basically hammered drunk saying like, check the ballots, check the book. And the dude's like, is it off by like 30,000 votes though? She's like, it could be, you could have dead people voting. Or like that one token brown person they got that said like all Chinese people look the same and that's why we need ID, like we have in India. Like, okay, like you can take those and be like, haha, look at how silly this is. But you have to realize that the only difference, like the only like material difference between the Bolivian coup and the current U.S. coup is that, fortunately for us, the military isn't really loyal to Trump. They're kind of loyal to their own interests. And it doesn't matter if Trump or Biden is in charge. The military will always be the military. So that's the first thing. And the second thing that we're lucky is that Biden, I don't want to say this because that's kind of bad, but we're sort of lucky that Biden isn't a socialist, right? Because if Biden was like a socialist and he was like, I'm going to dismantle empire, I'm going to end imperialism, I'm going to do this and do that, then the ruling class would have much, much more of an interest to say, okay, let's just like prevent him from being president, right? And then it would be coup sitting. I'll tell you what. However, all that means for us is that the attempt will be unsuccessful. It doesn't actually mean that like no bad things are gonna happen. And I kind of wish that like liberal like resistance libs would actually take Trump seriously. Like their performative hatred for Trump is like, yeah, it was really good. But yeah, their performative hatred for Trump is like so like palpable, and you see it all the time, like on Twitter and stuff. They're like, Trump is a Russian agent who blah blah blah, and he made America look weak and bad for 4 years, and now decency has returned to the White House. Okay, bro. Okay, Richard. Okay, Karen. Like, cool. But like when it actually comes to like opposing the specific things Trump does, and not just like hatred of like Trump in general, suddenly they're like they're weirdly ineffective about it. And then when it comes to like opposing the policies that got Trump, that are like bad, like opposing Trump isn't bad just because he's stupid, right? Like Trump is bad because he does bad things. Right, you know what I mean? Like like for example, he's attacked Obamacare during a pandemic. We can talk about the coronavirus briefing. Well, like in March, he like basically privatized the coronavirus response, right? He like sent like stockpiles of like ventilators and medication that was meant for like states to use to private companies to like sell them to state governments at the highest bidder. Like his entire like his foreign policy is basically like he almost started a war with Iran. I mean, he greenlit basic what's like essentially genocide in Yemen. Like the dude The dude has some bad policies. So if you hate Donald Trump, you'd expect also to hate the things that he's doing. But the things that Trump is doing is like the least it's like the least of the concern to like the resistance libs, you know? And I guess that's what's just really frustrating. Like now we're sitting here again, going through what in any other country would be recognized and called a coup, and we're sitting here just saying, haha, look at how silly and funny Trump is. Isn't it so embarrassing? He's undermining faith in our democracy. Ugh. Like, please shut up. Like, actually do anything useful. You know, instead of just, like, shaming Trump for being uncouth, maybe shame Trump for... Yeah. There are quite the most insufferable people. But like, instead of shaming Trump for like not following the rules hard enough, you should shame Trump for hurting people. And that's like it's like the big thing for me. I'm gonna get a bottle of water here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I read a headline saying that like Trump he's like making a list of he's making a list of people who like a list of GOP senators who or like GOP lawmakers who have like refused to acknowledge that he won. Actually, the political landscape going into Georgia, this is kind of going into electoralism a little bit, but the political landscape going into Georgia is so fucking funny because the Trump campaign needs his base to believe that the election was rigged against him to plausibly pull off. At this point, it looks like it's not going to succeed, but nonetheless, to maybe try and pull off like a soft legislative coup. I expect Trump TV somewhere in late 2021. Yeah. Like the grift is very real. Like he's definitely just like raking in money for I don't know, whatever kind of like right-wing agitprop TV network he's gonna do. Yeah, that's true, Soviet. But oh gosh, I lost my train of thought. He was doing a coup. Yeah, see, Hassan is so much better at me. Like, I don't know how he does it. But I guess, well, oh yeah, so I saw the headline saying that he's like, okay, Georgia, right, I got it, I got it, I'm back. So, he needs people to believe that the election was rigged on one hand. But on the other hand, he also needs people to vote in January for Republicans no matter what, right? But like the logical conclusion of if the system is rigged against you is why do we bother voting? And so there are a lot of like Republicans who are like, well, if Dominion voter whatever blah 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 this and that, if all of that really is a thing, then why should I bother supporting like Lori Loeffler and all these rhinos who like who profited off the pandemic? Like you have to remember, like these Georgia senators, they were given information that the coronavirus pandemic would like devastate the United States, and they took it and they made profit on stocks. That's literally that's literally like what they did, right? Nobody likes them. They stay in power, and I'm pretty sure like one of them, I forgot if it's like Loeffler or the other one, but like one of them was like not even elected, like appointed, right? So there's just no enthusiasm for these people whatsoever. So like watching the Republican Party, just I'm not sure how this space sketch is actually confusing me. I might. But like watching them like struggle and fight is very funny. What's less funny is that the Democrats are like so horribly incompetent that even though the Republicans are the weakest they've ever been right now, the Republicans still have a decent chance of winning, because like the Democrats are like, they're still like stuck in that headspace of like, well, don't we need to win over moderate voters? We can't propose policies that'll help fix the problem. Like if we propose Medicare for all during an actual pandemic in which several million people have lost access to health insurance, this would be bad for us somehow. I don't know. I don't like the word incompetent. Like a lot of social democrats and stuff will be like, oh, the Democrats are so incompetent. But it's like not, it's not incompetence. They're like doing it on purpose. It's because they don't want to give poor people healthcare. That's it. That's the full, that's the full explanation for their behavior. It's just, okay, well, I'll come back to this. Hands are very difficult. Give all the Trump voters you could have got. Yeah, true. Like all the Trump voters who definitely, like, my favorite myth is the myth that there's like a whole block of like Republicans who are like only voting, who would totally 100% vote blue if it were not for like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, like a woman who entered politics in 2018. Like if it were not for Bernie Sanders, I would totally be voting with you, right? Like the idea that there are people who like, politically this doesn't even make any sense. Like people who want like some more welfare but not too much more welfare. The only people who I know who are like this are like upper income, like I knew a girl who was like this, like upper income, like white people who are political because they like feeling superior to like racist conservatives, but like who in and of themselves A, are pretty racist, and B, like don't actually like it, there's nothing in it for them. Like these are the only people who I can conceivably imagine vote red because they feel like the Democrats have gone too far. Like regular as working class people, they either understand where their class interests are and either don't vote or vote blue, or they vote red because they're like wrapped up inside like the conservative machine, right? So I don't know. It's a little bit frustrating when we have all these narratives, and we talked about this a bit in the manufacturing consent episode of critical weed theory, but like it's a little bit annoying when we have all these narratives that like literally just exist because some media executive said it does, and then like that's it. That's like the I'm really bad at this, and that's like the full extent of the scrutiny that we get into like thinking about how we frame questions. Is that right? Oh man, I've been really like, of course, ever since I became a leftist, I haven't really liked Obama nearly as much as I perhaps used to, but lately, Obama's been like really getting on my nerves. Like I think it started with the like, well, first of all, how he behind the scenes worked to like screw over Bernie Sanders. That was one thing. But then it was like in during the uprising when the NBA like discovered what a strike was, and then Obama like killed it. He like personally talked to LeBron James to get him to stop going on strike. Yeah. Yeah, he's playing damage control for the left and how it's becoming more popular, right? And so but then the whole thing lately with like defund the police is like a snappy slogan. Mr. fucking
fucking yes we can, fucking hope and change. That was your okay. That was your whole thing. Your whole thing was snappy slogans. Like I don't. What are you doing? Why are you like this? Like God fucking get like a life or something. Like what's your net worth? Like $2 kajillion? Like go hide away in your fucking yacht and leave the rest of us the fuck alone. Jesus Christ. Yes we can to no we can't. Yeah. Right? But yeah, I think Barack Obama I think represents like the what we're gonna have to deal with for the next 4 years. I think the way I've been putting it is that like Obama and Trump are like two different counterinsurgency strategies, right? Trump is basically what would approach fascism in the sense that like you have authoritarian, xenophobic, like openly hateful rhetoric, like open red baiting. If there are protests, send in the stormtroopers, gas them in the streets, demonize them on the media, make everyone hate them, and like sooner or later the left will hide away. And the liberals are like, no, 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 no. We can have a softer, more effective approach to counterinsurgency, which is just, well, if we just co-opt their movements and we turn every concrete policy demand into feel good nothing, then we can just do whatever we want. If we turn abolish the police into defund the police, and then we turn defund the police into police reform now, then we can say we made chokeholds illegal on like a federal basis, and they're bada bing bada boom. We did something on police reform, right? And it's like, well, no, that doesn't actually fix the problem, right?
I'm not living through that again. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, like 2014, 2016 was like it like this is definitely getting to the point where like I was a little like to the point where I like wasn't as active in politics. But like at least speaking to people who were more active politically during that time, it was a lot more of a hostile period for the left than I think especially a lot of like Zoomer leftists realize. This hand turned out all right in the end, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Like the liberals essentially they want a pat on the back for recognizing that problems exist. But then when it comes to actually solving them, all they do is play stopgap for the left, and we're here to actually solve the fucking problems, right?
So that's, I think, moving forward, that's the thing that we have to watch out for. Like, we have to watch out for people who exist for no other reason but to tell us what we can't do and what we can achieve and what's not desirable, what's not politically possible. Like you ask these people, for example, what would you do about the police? What would you do about like healthcare? What would you like? Even like the fact that like Joe Biden, like for example, refuses to commit to a national lockdown when we have like a 9/11 worth of deaths every day, and the Thanksgiving spike hasn't even started. Like, okay, why'd we vote for you then? I mean, I didn't vote for him. I voted for the PSL, but that's besides the point. Like your whole promise was that you would be better than Trump in like concrete, specific ways, but here we are, and we're asking you to prove that you were better than Trump. Every single time, you seem to just refuse. You refuse to be anything different, and that's how do I? That looks weird. Holy shit! That looks Let's remove that. So anyway, I guess that's the Obama thing. So I didn't go out to the coronavirus. Yeah, I think it is really important to take care of yourself. Since I live away from like my home state, I basically always vote absentee. But I think moving forward, I might just like end up living here all the time. So it might be useful to just change my voter registration finally to where I actually live versus the place where I go home to see my parents, you know? I think the thing is, if you go back, like my Twitter account is not very new, but if you go back far enough to like February, March, I think you'll see that like I was much more. I don't think I was ever fully like electoralist in the sense that like I believe that like electoralism is the way forward for the left, but I was much more like I put much more faith in voting in a thing that like is important to do, and that just kind of comes from the fact that like ever since I could vote, I have voted, and I try to like I've always tried to be like engaged in both like local and state and like national elections. And so I think back in like March and stuff, I was like, well, seriously? I was like, even if, for example, like, even if Joe Biden, well, I think if it was Michael Bloomberg, I would have like drawn the line there. But I was like, well, even if Joe Biden is like not great, if he ends up winning, then we still have to get Trump out of office. Whatever, it takes 5 seconds out of your time, and then we can continue to organize on other things, right? But I think the thing that like got me to stop being head ass was the uprising. Like that changed me a lot. Because like at some point, I kind of realized, wait a minute. Because like having like this actual moment where I didn't actually think it was like even like the US working class really had it like in itself to show that kind of militancy. And seeing like, oh yeah, actually like we are awake, we are sick of this shit. We are actually, if you push us in just the right way, we will respond. And then seeing like the liberal response to this response as like tepid co-opty bullshit, that's when I realized I think like it's not even worth, like I'm not going to shame anyone who voted for Joe Biden, but the return on investment seems smaller and smaller the more you actually think about it. Let's see how this looks so far. Not bad, not bad, not bad, not bad. I look a little uncomfortable, but like I feel uncomfortable all of the time, so it works. Shoes, sure. I'm really bad at drawing shoes. I think they look like, I feel like they should be rounder, yeah? But yeah, if I was like a party person, like more of like a status leftist, I think out of all, like if I had to choose between like I don't know what options do we have. We have the CPUSA. Yeah, hands are like, because they're like a, it's like a hand is like a flat plate, right? But it's like shaped weird. It's like shaped like a, like sometimes it's like a triangle. Sometimes it's more like a pentagon. Sometimes it's a rectangle. It kind of depends on how the fingers are spread out. And then each of the fingers are like, they all have joints, and they're all weird. And hands. But yeah, like if I had to do an analysis between like all like the communist parties the US has, and like the socialist parties the US has, like we have quite a few. We have the DSA, which okay, I can get into the DSA in a sec, which is like not a communist party whatsoever. They're edgy social democrats. Okay, let's. And then we have the CPUSA, which has not been based since. I want to generously say the 80s when Angela Davis was a part of it. But could probably go back earlier. Yeah, we have the Workers' World Party. And then we have the Workers' World Party. I don't really know much about it. And then we have the PSL. And like, if I had to like pick one that I think would probably like has the best shot long term of like, I guess if I was like a vanguardist, if I had to pick one that had like the best shot long term of like establishing a proper vanguard party, it would probably be the PSL, because like they're engaged in elections, which is true, but they're also like deeply engaged in like community organizing, deeply engaged in protest. So like when it comes to for that reason, it's actually for that second reason, the fact that they're like engaged in like community stuff, that I support them even though I am an anarchist, simply because at this stage in the game, I think any organization that's actually like reaching out to people where they are and like doing on the ground work deserves attention. That being said, long term, of course, for me, my thing is like autonomous movements. What's it called? I had a like there's a movement. Maybe I should do, because they're kind of under the radar. Maybe I might write a thing on them. But they're called Let's Organize the Hood, or the Black Autonomy Federation, and they've got like chapters in a couple different cities. And the thing is, they don't really exist online. They exist like in real life, which is like a weird thing to say, but yeah, I got you, Soviet. But Let's Organize the Hood is a really interesting movement, because it's kind of like after the Panthers fell, it's kind of like the more, I don't like the perspective on my shoes. Okay, let me finish the sentence first, then I'll worry about the shoes. But after the Panthers kind of fell, the kind of more libertarian faction started a movement to basically just like organize Black people through like poor people survival programs, through literature, through stuff like that, like getting to what I think Marx would probably refer to as like a Lumpenproll, and like radicalizing them. And I really believe in that kind of work, especially simply because there's a lot of people, like we talk about voting, and there's a lot of people who are more politically active, are more politically aware than you'd think, and it's because they're more politically aware than you think that they don't vote, right? And so, as communists, we can reach those people. We can be like, hey, you ever wonder why like life sucks? Okay, I'm really bad at this. You ever wonder why like life sucks? Have you considered it's because like white capitalists like steal a bunch of wealth from your communities, as they have for many years? This is the Rising Up draw stream. Ooh, I should rename it to Rising Up draw stream. There we go. So and yeah, so Let's Organize the Hood is like more anarchist in formation. They don't really have a leader or anything. They just have people who like do things as they want, and if they know, for example, like in my block there are people who need housing, then it's like, should we go help them? Yeah, I can pitch in. I can help that, right? That's kind of how they're organized. Now I'm thinking about it. Should I close this jacket? Because this frame works a lot better if the jacket is closed. I think I will. Okay. Attends. But like, that's like not a thing. That kind of organizing is like not unique to anarchists, right? So I support anyone who does that kind of thing. And the PSL does that quite a bit. I also think like Gloria La Riva, like if you ever heard, like if you actually like listen to her, like during like the presidential race, especially like during the primary, she was like really one of the only people that made any fucking sense. So I have mad respect for her, just like using the election, especially like when Bernie dropped out again, and you have like the big refugees of like bread pilled social democrats who are tired of losing, like entering the communist movement for the first time. Like she really handled that well. Okay. Yeah, and then why is it not? Can you just stop for like 5 minutes? Stop being weird. Yeah, okay. Let's see. What else can I talk about? Do we want to talk about more communism, or do we move to anime? These are literally my only two positions. I just love, man. My Twitter account is such like an interesting place because like I have a pretty good idea based on like who likes what, of like which group of people are just here for me to like talk about anime, and which group of people are here for me to talk about like politics. And there's a couple of people who like are here for both. But like the divide is rather interesting and consistent when I check my notifications. But I actually find that's quite alright by me. And the reason why is that for the most part, it doesn't seem like the people who are like more political mind when I talk about anime. Like I don't lose too many followers when I like make like a 22 tweet thread about like Darling in the Franxx, whatever. But also for the people who are like less engaged, I like being able to talk to them and being like, hey, I know you're in general pretty left wing, but have you considered all these like social problems that we can like fix if we actually work together? Like this exists more than just online, you know? And I was talking with Raghava because the other day was the anniversary of Fred Hampton's death, and I posted like a joke tweet about how like Fred Hampton was shot dead at the age of 21. Meanwhile, I don't want to get on that mutual aid call because I'm afraid of talking to people. But there was like a honest, genuine sentiment behind it, in that like when I think about like the Black Panthers. Like the one where main character based incarcerated population choice. Ooh, yeah. But when I think about like the Panthers, right? Like if you learned anything about the Panthers in school, if at all, you probably learned that they were like a radical, like violent group that like didn't achieve anything, unlike Martin Luther King, who was peaceful and good and nice. Right. But like, if you think about it, like all the people who started the Black Panther Party were like college students. Like, yeah, it was just a bunch of like college students from Oakland who were like, You know what I'm sick of? The fucking cops. Let's do something about it. And then they just did. And it turned into a whole thing. They traveled. They like wrote letters to like Kim Jong Un. They like traveled to China. They set like the standard basically for like communist organizing in the United States. No matter what your tendency, like if you're an anarchist, if you're a Marxist, if you're a leftcom, if you're a Posadist, it doesn't matter. Everyone agrees that the Black Panthers fucking owned, right? And they were like just regular ass people who decided they were sick of a problem, and they decided to do something about it, right? And so I guess to me it's like we're all just on some level, please just for once. So on some level, we're all just kind of like weebs who like anime. But on another level, like we have the potential to like if there's a problem that we don't want to have anymore, we can certainly just make it not a problem anymore just by like working together. And it doesn't I'm not saying that like, you know, everyone can be like Fred Hampton, like everyone can like immediately get into a firefight with the cops. Not everyone can be Malcolm X and like immediately make enemies with like fucking Nation of Islam and shit, right? Yeah. Exactly, Soviet. Like, so that's not what I'm saying. But I am saying like there's a lot of stuff, even like just online, that we can do to like help make the world a better place. And if I can get people to understand that through anime, then I am more than happy to continue doing what I'm doing. Let me see. That was really bad. Okay. It's like here and here. The thing is, like, the drawing tablet is like, okay, I'm going to move the tablet. And then I'm going to swoop. No, God, that was the worst swoop I've ever seen. I'm going to swoop. No. Swoop. No. Okay. I'll deal with that. It's okay. When I actually do the line art, it'll be better. Oh, this shit. Never mind. Okay. We're trying something else. Right. And it's like, we can do a lot of stuff if we just kind of think about it. Plus, I also, I don't want to like just set like the lofty ideals of like, defeating capitalism or whatever. Like the very simple reality of just being like, well, you know what would be nice? It would be nice if like anime fans were more comfortable in their own fandom because we actually like called out some of the reactionaries. Like that's not like a big thing, but it's still a thing that we can do, right? I think like entertainment is like an important part of like life. Life isn't just like, you know, struggle for liberation from the bourgeoisie, right? Like it's also just, you know, being able to chill and enjoy your hobbies. And it'd be super nice if we could do that, without like the default expression, like the default political opinion in anime spaces being white nationalism is good and we should do more of it. Right? So yeah, I'm not really sure what prompted this. Yeah, entertainment does matter, for its own sake, not just for revolutionary potential, although entertainment does indeed have revolutionary potential. I think like this should be pretty good. We can go like this and then like that. These are confusing. Like when you watch the art tutorials and stuff, they always say like make bold lines because then when you go over them, you're just gonna get confused. And I'm like, I don't need to do that. And like here I am, eternally confused at what the fuck the shape is supposed to be. Huh? Did the lo-fi stream end? Oh, it's buffering. How Nazis in their spaces, one of the prime places for recruiting people into the art. Yeah. It's like, I think we're gonna find another lo-fi stream. Or maybe we'll find an electro swing stream. Listen, but like the reason why it works so well. The reason why like fascist recruitment in nerd spaces works so well is like a couple of reasons, right? Like, first of all, if you're like in a nerd space, you're probably like isolated, and you probably have like general misgivings against society. That's one thing. Second thing is that it's really easy to weaponize the fact that you have like a niche interest against other people. Like, it's really easy to turn the general anxiety of I'm being judged for liking a thing against like people. Like, I remember the first time I watched Kill la Kill, I made the mistake. I made the mistake of thinking Kill la Kill is a thing you can watch in like a public library when it's not. Right? And just like, you do get that feeling of like, damn, I really am being judged for like my hobby or whatever, right? So you can weaponize that. And thirdly, in general, a lot of these spaces are like already kind of white and already kind of male. And when you put all of that together, you get the perfect breeding ground of turning the SJWs are ruining anime into the SJWs are ruining all of society, right? And if there's not like people like standing up against that, then it's not gonna end well. I'm not really sure how I feel about this. Okay, that's a little bit better. Yeah, I will. Okay, actually, no, bad. Okay. So shows I have seen. I mean, I talk about this a little bit in the next podcast, so I won't spoil too much. Oh yeah, last night, after much pestering from multiple people, I did finally start Over the Moon to You. I've only seen one episode, so I'm like really, really, really behind on that show. The thing about that for me, do I put a line here? This looks gross. No thanks. But like the thing about that for me is that I'm actually like well, I consider myself aromantic is the thing. So I don't like romance anime is like weird to me simply because I don't like the feeling that they're like trying to express is like, it doesn't make a ton of sense to me. But I do like relationships and I do think they're cute. So there's kind of like that push and pull whenever. Oh. Japanese walkpad. Oh yeah. Oh, thanks so much. I'm glad you guys liked it. Thanks for joining me on this test stream. I'm not sure how many more we're gonna have. We're definitely gonna do something like this soon. Just the electro swing. But yeah, so when I watch Over the Moon to You, like on one hand, it's like, at least from the episode I've seen, like it to me it's very, I guess the one thing that confuses me a lot is people will say like romantic attraction is like, you know, it's like more than just like lust or whatever. It's like really loving a person for who they are, right? But that seems to run like counter to the whole idea of love at first sight, where you see like a cute girl and you're like, I know she's the one. And it's like, based on what? It's based on what she looks, right? So so then what's the difference between like love at first sight and just being horny? I don't get it. Like, if I said like for example, like this girl, like I like her body, I like her figure, and I'd like to spend some time with her, that's like shallow. But then like if I say, oh, that girl, she's got a pretty face, I want to spend time with her, that's like not, it's, to me they're like equally shallow, you know? But hey, yeah, so I just don't. So this fun. Why so many people like Shield Hero? Okay, I could talk about that. Why do so many people like Shield Hero? So there's like two components to this. I think the first is that people like it out of spite. Because when Shield Hero came out, it was like in the middle of both Me Too and in the anime industry, like the whole Vic Mignogna thing. If you don't know, he's a voice actor who's been like credibly accused of like sexual abuse in the workplace. So like those two things were happening at the same time, and then we got an anime that was like feminists falsely accused men of rape to oppress them, right? And then so a bunch of feminists kind of like watched the show and they were like, what is this? No, right? And so then a bunch of people started standing Shield Hero as nothing else but just to signal that they don't like feminism. There's a lot of people who watch Shield Hero just for that. And then they got like 5, 6, 7 episodes into Shield Hero and they realized that the show is actually really boring and poorly written. Right? So there's that. Yeah, it's a really bad show. Like, it's not just incel bait, and it doesn't just justify slavery. It's just poorly written, right? So there's that one thing. But I think among the people who unironically like Shield Hero, there's like a couple of things. First of all, it's so boring. It's so boring. Like, episodes 1, 2, and 4 are episodes 1, 2, 4, I think 16 and 21 are like the only interesting episodes, because they're the only episodes that like do anything with like either the rape thing or the slavery thing, right? And like those are the episodes I mainly use when I write essays about Shield Hero. But like all of the other episodes, there's just like nothing happening in them. There's like nothing worth talking about, right? But like, yeah, the other reason I think why people like Shield Hero unironically is that it kind of for a lot of people it reminds them a bit of like, I think either like previous injustices that have happened to them. Like some people really do get like a bad hand and stuff, and so they like immediately relate to Naofumi because he's like because he's also been like falsely accused of a thing, right? But for me, it's like, even then, like what Naofumi does afterwards is that he uses the fact that he's been wronged in the past to like manipulate and control other people. And to me, I don't really buy that, like, oh, well, because I relate to Naofumi. Like, do you really relate to Naofumi, like, forcing a child to do his bidding because he got a bad hand in life? Really? Like the scene where now like Raftalia is like a scared and sick child, and like Naofumi forces her to kill against her will, like, and then like the scene at the end of that episode, this is episode 2, where she's like crying in Naofumi's arms because like she has nowhere else to go and she doesn't want her master to abandon. Like that's relatable to you? Because it's not to me. I'm just, and I've been accused of things, you know. Oh, hello. So curious to get how bad it gets. If you're watching Shield Hero to see how bad it gets, one thing I will warn you is that when you get to
after you get to episode 4, which is like the big justifying slavery thing, there's kind of a lull where the show doesn't get any better, but it also doesn't get much worse. And then it gets worse again around episode 21, where they actually try the evil princess for her. Yeah. I forget what 9 was. It's been a while. But when you get to episode 21, that's like when they try the princess for all her crimes, and it's super insulting. I would put like a content warning on that, just because it's like the most insulty it's been since the beginning of the show. Malty, hey. Wait. Yeah, Malty is the evil one, and Melty is the lolly. Yeah, okay. God. Meet the slave or break out the slaves. Yeah. Like the only question that you ever have to ask Shield Hero fans when they start defending like the slavery or whatever, is like, it's really simple. They're like, oh well, they're not really slaves, and now Fumi treats them well, and she actually wants to be with him. The only question that you ever have to ask them is simple: why doesn't he just let go of the slaves? Right? If Raftalia is here because she just likes Naofumi and she just wants to support him, why doesn't he just get rid of the slave crest and let her be with him on her own? And they'll say some bullshit about how actually being a slave increases her stats or whatever, which is just more like reverse justification for bullshit. So then you ask, like, why didn't the author just have Naofumi release her? Why did the author make it so that the best relationship was master and slave for basically the entire show? And the entire light novel until apparently the very end, where she is released from bondage to like become a queen of something. That doesn't happen in the show at all, and it won't for quite a while. I think episode 9 is Melty. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. So these drawings are I'm redoing the puppets for my Isekai series. I'm just giving them a nice little update. I'm planning, since I've kind of gotten derailed a bit with actually finishing this. I'm planning on a fake kind of time skip gag where we deal with the fact that, like, in the narrative of the essay, time hasn't really passed, but diegetically meta-narratively, time has passed quite a bit, and the world is much different than when it was when I started writing this essay. One day I'll be good at drawing feet. I'm okay at drawing hands. It's like, I'm actually worse at feet, I think, than hands. I also think my knee is a little low here. That's okay. Yeah, thanks. Just like, it's my thing is I really do enjoy writing about anime and talking about anime, but it's like also not really my, like, I'm in university right now. I'll be graduating later next year. Well, okay. I'm in my last year of university, and I'll graduate next calendar year, right? But the thing I'm in university for is not like, it's not like media or anything. Like, I'm in university to study like programming and like physics and stuff. Like, so I don't have like the I don't have the ability to like commit to this like I think another content creator would, who like needs to do this like as a job.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's a cool coincidence. Oops. Yeah, but like when I have the time, I do really like pudding. My pants are kind of short. Well, okay. In real life, my pants are kind of short because I'm like, I'm kind of tall, and I don't want to go like, I don't want to go out of my way to like go to like a big and tall or whatever and get like longer pants. That's such a hassle. Yeah. Nah, but that's really cool. But yeah. And generally speaking, there's like soles in feet. Oh, you're a comp sci teacher. Dang, there's lots of lots of computer people here today. That's cool. That's cool. Nah, that's awesome. And then, like, generally speaking, okay. What else can we talk about? We can. How about shows in the future that I need to see, but I haven't been seeing? I need to finally dig into. Fate. I was talking. Sylvia's still here. Like, we were talking about Fate and how I need to watch it the other day. There's like a lot of like classics I think that I need, like a lot of like anime institutions. What anime do I like? Ooh, I can post. Let me see. Because I make so for the purposes of like reviewing anime on Twitter, I made like a scaling system because I don't like scaling anime out of 10 because I think it's a little bit reductive, and I don't really think that you can like if you take like a rom-com, right, and like a shonen, I'm not really sure how you can put them on the same scale and say like the shonen was an 8 out of 10 and the rom-com was a 5 out of 10 when they're not trying to do the same thing. So I made a very overcomplicated scaling system, and I'll like put it in chat. Oh, cool. Sylvia's still here. So you can like, that's fun. But I guess some of my, I kind of wrote them down. So if you read my second Shield Hero essay, or you watched it, which apparently some of you have, you'll know I mentioned Welcome to the NHK. I really think that's like a really solid show. We talked about Black Lagoon on stream. When I finish Legend of Galactic Heroes, I will talk about it in some capacity, but I love that show. A show that's not on the list, at the bottom. Thanks. There are not that many, but like, thank you very much. Like a show that is like not on the list, that I think is also very worth watching. It's like brand new. Last season we had Decadence, and it's not like a perfect show by any means, but it's just, what the hell? Oh, oops. It's not like a perfect show by any means, but like, it's like the open leftism that it showed, I think, in a season that was like devoid of like any, like the open leftism that it had, both like during the time that it came out and also just yeah. Oh yeah, I saw the video first, and I was like, maybe I should watch Decadence. Yeah, there's a video on lead revolution on Decadence, and if you want to see the thing that told me that I should watch Decadence, I knew that Jeff also did a political video on Decadence, but I didn't watch it because I don't actually trust Jeff. Oh no. Oh no. Is the stream gonna turn into... Nah, I'm not gonna throw too much shade on my one and only stream on this channel, but we will... No, it's like out here. That's good enough for the time being. But yeah, like the one thing about Decadence that kind of disappointed me was... Okay, well, there are actually two things. First is that somewhere around halfway through, it stops being like...
So the main character Decadence is like... How do I explain the importance of framing to people?
Framing. Well,
I think the thing about framing is that a lot of people like don't realize that framing is a thing,
right? Because like a lot of people just like... It's hard to explain. Like a lot of people, when they watch things... Like, okay, so here's a good example. Konosuba, right? So, like, on one of those, like, gender equality videos, right? There was a comment on it.
Okay, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then this might be a little bit confusing. But, okay, regardless, Konosuba basically, I did... Second Bullshit No You Should talks a lot about Konosuba, but essentially the way it frames its main character, who is kind of like a creep and like a rampant sexist, like the framing of Kazuma, the main character, is basically almost always positive, and because of that, it's hard not to also read like condemn the politics of the show for that same thing. But the thing about framing is that a lot of people like don't realize that things are being framed. So like a lot of people will just kind of read the thing that they want to into Konosuba without taking into effect like how their surrounding context affects it, right? So they'll be like, well, what I would like to believe about the show is that the show criticizes Kazuma because Kazuma is just such like an awful person. Of course you're not supposed to be like him. But like, is that like textually supported? And I'm not gonna say that like I have the only objective reading on any anime. If there's a reading that reads Konosuba more sympathetically than I have, then I would love to see it. But you would need to talk about like, okay, how is the thing presented? Framing can like make or break a story, if you really think about it, because framing is like you can kind of think about it a little bit as like the tone in which you're saying something, right? So if you say, for example, like, I love you, like, oh, babe, I love you, you know? Like, really sweet and earnestly, that's one thing. And if you say, ha, yeah, I love you, like, okay, well, those are two different things, right? And those things mean two different things, right? And so, I guess the way to explain framing is kind of like that. Like, just like you can say to... Oh, I love this song. You can say... right.
That's the question that you have to ask. Like, this isn't for framing in general, but specifically, if you're talking about like a character who constantly engages in like harmful behavior, or like sexism or whatever, or like any sort of bigotry, or like defending capitalism or whatever, like the question to ask is pretty simply, does it work out for them? Like, if there's like, I don't know if you guys watched the cartoon Johnny Bravo, but like Johnny Bravo is like a chauvinist and like a misogynist and like constantly harasses women. That's like the point of the show. But then you ask, how is that framed? Does it work out for him? And it never works out for him, right? Because acting that way never gets him like whatever girl he's chasing after, right? But if you ask, for example, Kazuma, right? He constantly abuses other people. He's constantly like exhibits sexist attitudes. Does it work out for him? Well, actually, yeah, it kind of does. Everyone on his team sort of likes him in a weird sort of way at the end of it. Like the whole thing with Darkness in episode 9, I won't get into it too much, it's kind of dark, but basically he has like a kind of sexual experience with Darkness in which he doesn't really get her consent or anything, he kind of like coerces her into it. But like at the end of the day, he still did it, and it was still like good for him, and he still gets to like avoid responsibility for it. Or like we can go so on and so forth with like it does overall. He's not really punished for the bad things that he does and thinks. So then, how can the story then also think that these things are bad? Yeah, so I guess that's my thing on framing. I guess I'll finish my thought on Decadence too. I guess the thing about Decadence is that like it has a main character, Natsume, who's like decidedly working class in like the whole scheme of how Decadence is set up. And the first half of the show is like about her and how oh yeah, the whole thing with the cage. That was just bizarre. But yeah, like and like the first 5 episodes are like really, really solid because it's kind of like about her like trying to fight within the system to beat the system, only to realize that the system itself cannot be changed from within. You need to like actually destroy it. But at some point it kind of shifts to Kaburagi, who's a class traitor. Like he would be considered bourgeois, but then he like turns against his own class. And the story kind of becomes about him protecting Natsume instead of about like Natsume and like the liberation of her own class. And that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Well, it wasn't like bad, because listen, okay, I'm not a purist. I welcome class traders. Listen, if you're like a business owner and you want to like give up or like democratize your workplace, and then you want to spend your vast wealth like funding the revolution, please go ahead, do it. Like by all means, go ahead. Right, but like ultimately, the story about the liberation of the working class, like the song says, the liberation of the working class is a job for the worker alone, right? And I would have liked to see more Natsume and the other humans actually take charge of their own destinies in that sort of sense. And the other thing I didn't like is that the system at the end that they replaced it with, like the facsimile for capitalism that they like got rid of, they kind of like put a nicer version of that same system in at the end. And I would have preferred, of course, its complete and total abolition. That being said, it is still, I think for 2020... Wait, what? Are you saying, wait, what about the cage thing? Oh yeah, there's a... Let me see, maybe I can find a picture. Aqua cage. Here. She was like in the cage. This is Aqua stuck in the cage. Because she was like purifying the water. Yeah, so Aqua can like purify water. So, but the water is like filled with sharks. So they like put her in a cage, and they put her inside the water so that she can purify the water for the quest. But then the cage gets attacked by sharks, and it's just like, I guess the entire joke is that Aqua is in a lot of emotional duress for the entire time, and she just kind of cries. And it's not really all that funny because she's just in pain, and I'm not really sure what the joke is, unless you find like her pain inherently amusing. Then I guess, yeah. So that was the cage thing. Oh, it's alligators. Yeah, they were like monsters of some kind. That's all I remember. They were, yeah, they were whatever these things are. All the pixels. Right. Anywho, Aqua. Do we stand Aqua? I think out of spite. I am on Reddit. I am subscribed to both our multi-mel remark squad and our Aqua Sama, just out of spite for all the people who like Shield Hero and Konosuba. I'm not sure. Should she have a horizontal belly button or vertical belly button? I usually do vertical. Aqua Sama is unfortunately not as funny as I would hope, because everyone just likes Konosuba unironically. But like multi-mel remark, like if you've watched Shield Hero, the way she's framed is just like so on it. Like Naofumi sees her silhouette in episode 1 and just says like, "Wow, that looks like a slut." Right? Like the way Naofumi is framed is such a Tower of Rachel. Yeah. But like the way she's framed is just so like unbelievably and like quintessentially awful that there's no way that someone who like watched Shield Hero would think that she's a good person. So like the people who are a part of Multi-Mel Remark Squad are just like, they just exist to piss off Shield Hero fans, and that's much funnier. Unfortunately, the subreddit is not very active. But if it was, hold on, I need like a bra reference, and I'm not sure if that's gonna. That should be okay, right? I guess it depends on the picture that I pick. I'm not gonna risk it. It's fine. I'll just tab back and forth. It's no big deal. But wait, what brought this up? I'm not sure. Okay, we'll change the subject a little bit. How about? I guess I can talk about the channel. We've got so I think like some of you know, we have 2 episodes of the podcast left of the year. God willing, there should be both this week. One on Wednesday and then one afterwards. I'm not really sure how this is supposed to be. I've got a couple of videos I want to release before the end of the year. I've got a video on the conflict in Ethiopia. It's actually a lot more. It's a lot more related to the history of the Cold War and the history of like Marxism, Leninism in Africa than you would think, and then you would get like from the media. So I'm really excited for that. Then somebody referenced It's been so there's a channel called Clownfish TV, and they referenced my Shield Hero essay, not the second one, the first one. And they implied that I was part of like a Crunchyroll funded media conspiracy to westernize Shield Hero. And so I need to do a response to that, like a 1-2 minute response, just on how absolutely absurd that idea, the idea that I am paid by Crunchyroll to ruin your favorite anime. I mean, God, I wish, right? Like, like if Crunchyroll actually had like an active propaganda campaign to agitate for socialism, that would be fucking based, right? But like they don't, because they're a fucking corporation, obviously not. And then I have the Misfit at Demon Academy.
Yeah. And then I have the Misfit at Demon Academy. Crunchyroll is actually that, yeah. Which, that essay is finally done. I had Raghava read it, and they gave me some tips on it. We actually talk a lot about like mixed race politics in Japan, and I did some pretty substantial research for it. Obviously, my research will never make up for like the lived experience of like a mixed race Japanese person, but I'm like really excited to actually like tackle race in Misfit in a way that is a little bit more detailed than I think than what others have done. And I think, oh yeah, and then a bunch of bullshit no Yusha. I am absolutely dead set on finishing this entire thing by the end of the year, because bullshit no Yusha is not supposed to go on as long as it did, and the fact that it would be like a shame on me if this series went on for longer than a year with me just like not updating it. I think it's xenophobic to think it'd be a Western thing. Yeah, absolutely. We actually talk about this a bit in the upcoming podcast, so I guess I'll spoil you a little bit. But like the whole Orientalist defense of like anime, in which like you can never criticize anything problematic because that's just how Japanese culture is. Like you see a show that like you watch like I don't know. Like Frank's, I guess, is like the thing I come to mind, or like something like that, in which like you watch like some show in which like this would be a little bit like what like taking like Starship Troopers, like the book, not like the movie, but like the book Starship Troopers, and saying like, oh, all Americans are like fascist because this one book exists, right? So you can't criticize the fascism in Starship Troopers because like what? No, or like you can take some like racist propaganda film from the 80s and be like, well, that's just American culture, you know? It's like not. I think we have to realize that anime is like a subculture in Japan, just like it's a subculture here, and like a lot of Japanese people actually don't really like the way I want to read your cleavage. Don't really like the way anime like stands in for like the entirety of Japanese culture. So to use that as like, well, to use that as your defense against the thing that I'm talking about. And second of all, you don't live in Japan, and neither do I. Like we both exist in this space. Yeah, it is great how it ends up that way for Starship Troopers. But yeah, I guess the thing is like we're like maybe we don't all live in the West per se, but like at least I do, and like the people who complain about the things I do also live in the West. So between the two of us, we both live in the West. We're like Western anime fans. We're the only reason why anime matters to us is within the context of the culture that we're talking. So
even if it were true that like, and it's not, that the Japanese people were just like okay with slavery and sexism and like that's fine, like we're not. And this thing is like it's now a cultural product and like our own in our own setting, and we should be able to talk about it like that. So just that entire defense is just ridiculous. Kind of weaves really silent Japanese feminists. Yeah, yeah, that's the other thing. That's the other thing. Like it's for some reason, like the whole base Japan meme. Like Japan is only based when like weirdo loner Japanese men who like anime say that woman bad. But when like regular average Japanese people stand up against their government, and when they stand up against like sexism and like patriarchy, that's suddenly Japan is based no more. You know, it's almost as if you're just projecting your own values onto an entire fucking country. Oh wait, there's a meme. I'll try and find a meme. If I can't find it soon enough, then. But I have like a meme stash. Almost there. Almost there. A little bit more. A bunch of Rent-A-Girlfriend stuff. I think it's before this. Wait for. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, it's. I can't be an otaku where I'm from. I can't be myself openly without being judged. If Japan isn't a nation of otaku, where do I have left to go? How should I know? Don't arbitrarily make our country your weird Neverland, Milton. And I just keep this on hand for when the weebs start acting up, and they need to be put down. So yeah, that's the thing. Let's see if I can get these fingers right. This has really worked out. God, I can't figure out the perspective anymore. It's like, it's supposed to be like, it's supposed to be like that basically, right? Goodness, that makes no sense, doesn't it? Also, her fingers are short. I'm not. Hold up. This is gonna be tricky. Hands again. The absolute disgrace of all art. I need a lot of best content anime under the critical. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, because like naturally, like underdog stories are like really compelling, and so if you can identify the underdogs in your own society and like root for them in your art, it's like it creates some really like interesting and like good stuff. Like nobody wants to see. Inherently, it's not interesting to see a story that's like the way things are now is like is pretty dope actually, right? People want to see things where you strive to make things better. God, why does this look like shit? Where did it go wrong? Hold on, I'm gonna take a picture of my hands. Or actually, I have a picture of my hands somewhere, right? Let me look for it. Okay, let me grab it. Okay.
and then we can continue. One sec, sorry. But yeah, on the whole, like, I think the thing is, like, and I think it's kind of one of the reasons why I try to, like, I try to stay a little bit away from talking too much about, like, Japanese culture in my work. Not necessarily, well, obviously I'm talking about anime, which is like a product of Japanese culture, but I kind of stay away a little bit from, like, things that are, like, cannot also be applied to the culture that I currently reside in, simply because if I did, you get into a lot of, like, the fetishism that a lot of other content creators get into. That is not something that I want. Okay. So I'm gonna grab this reference, and then we can keep trying to make this hand a reality. Stupid hands. They should have less hands. Yeah, that's my hand. Oh no! You've seen my hand! Okay. Let me open this back up. I think I'll start with, like, the shape, because how do hands actually work? They like oops. They, like, go like this. See, in this thing, it's like a diamond, right? But, like, what shape is the palm? Is it like a square? Is it like a circle? You don't know. I'm not really sure why. I'm not really sure why. It's like this shape. This is probably the best shape. I think if I can get that palm shape correct, because I think I actually got it incorrect when I did this base sketch here. But yeah. That's kind of the. I think this is just gonna distract me. Hand revealed. Oh no. It's like that and like that, which is a pretty good shape, but now I don't know how it attaches to the wrist, which I've already drawn. I think here is good. And then this just kind of comes down. Oops. So yeah, and I think those are all of the things that I'm gonna try and get done before the end of the year. Then next year, after I think a little bit of a break, the podcast will come back, and I think I want to get back to some of the basics of, like, my content, because it's been, like, forever since I've written something for Medium. So I'm probably gonna write, like, a regular good old-fashioned essay, probably something on decadence, and then I feel like I should probably pitch something to anime feminists again. They do pay the best out of everything that I do. Like, if you have a good idea for an essay, you should consider pitching to anime feminists, because if they do accept you and they do publish your thing, they do pay you, like, a cool $50, which is nice for things. Let's see how this works.
So I guess the song is in German now. That's cool. Um. Oh god, that's the worst stuff I've ever seen. Oh my lord. I didn't even realize it was that bad until I took a good look at it. Okay, we'll start over. A thumb is basically a triangle. Except, no. No, it's like like that, right? Like that. Uh, triangle, triangle, and then. Okay, that's kind of a weird way of thinking about it, but I think this is much better than what I was doing before. I think the thing about it is that it's too long compared to the other fingers. So either A, these fingers are short, or B, this one is long. I actually think it's a little bit of both. Oh yeah, sure. Thanks so much for stopping by, Jupiter. I'm probably gonna end soon-ish. Not too soon, but in a little bit. So you won't miss much. Glad you could stop by. Okay, and I think we can do. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. But now I'm thinking that my hand looks small on here because I actually like the size. I always draw hands either too small or like too big. Yeah, this is like small now you think about it. I'm not really sure what size hand should be. That's the other thing, because like they're the one part of the body that like really moves either really behind you or really in front of you. So they're like subject to perspective quite a bit. Can this hand go, or is it just gonna? Okay. I'm just gonna sit here and have an existential crisis while it loads. Okay, thanks. Okay. Although I think I am feeling like this hand can be a little bit bigger. Or can this hand be smaller? The other thing is that I also have pretty big hands. So I'm like, that like throws it off even more. I think something like that. No? Okay, I have to. I actually get GIMP. And I think I'll make her handle this one. Oh yeah, sure. Thanks so much. Have a good run. Let us see. So, okay. I'm gonna shrink this hand just a little bit. Then I'm gonna change the music. And then we will do one last stream topic, and then I'll kind of sign off. Let's see, what do we do? Let's switch the music to let's switch it to I'll put on Brain Flakes. So I use some of this person's music for like my videos and stuff. And I really think they're really good at like 8-bit music. So we'll kind of put this on. This is from Persona 5, I think. And then we will continue. So what's a good ending thing? Gosh. I really don't know. I talked about the channel. Let's talk a little bit more about communism, because I do love me some communism. And I guess like, or I can check Twitter. What's Twitter doing? Rents a girlfriend? Ooh, okay. Oh, would you guys like to see a never before revealed graphic? And I'm not really quite sure what to do with it yet. Yeah. So the never before revealed graphic is this one. I'm a little bit disappointed because when Raghava was working on their Rents a Girlfriend piece, I made it for them. But then Anifem was being a butt and they were like, you can't have it. But we can have it on the stream. There we go. I'm so proud of this. I'm so proud of this. I love this. I stared at this image for 5 hours now, just in awe of what my hand hath wrought. I love this so much. Doesn't it look exactly like a Rent a Girlfriend ad? Wait. Let me grab something in comparison. Like, no, I need a bigger one. What are you talking about? Let me see. Ugh, this one's kind of small, but it'll do. Like, right? Right? I fucking nailed it. I'm very proud. It's Brunchy Roll. Just make sure you don't go back to brunch, okay? So, the thing about Rent a Girlfriend... Oh, I've been thinking... I tweeted the other day. I tweeted about like a Rent a Girlfriend AU, but it's just like Mami and Chizuru. And the more I think about it, the more I think that'd be pretty dope. Maybe I'll work on that when I have the time. No justice, no quiche. But like I think the thing that like blows my mind about Rent a Girlfriend is just it blows my mind that like it's supposed to be like I'm like a cis dude, right? So presumably it's supposed to be like my fantasy, right? It's supposed to be like a fantasy specifically for me, but it's like really obviously not. And I can't imagine how many guys have like Rent a Girlfriend as their fantasy, like a fantasy in which a girl only hangs out with you because you pay her, and like a fantasy in which like the only way you can even like approach a woman is through like broken promises and coercion, a fantasy in which the only way a woman is interested in you is if she like blackmails you into spending time with her. Like what? Whose fantasy is this? It's not mine. It's not most people's. So like, where does this come from? You know? Like, I don't know. To me, the fantasy, the fantasy is pretty simple. Like, the fantasy is like, I just want to find someone who like is okay with all of my quirks and who I find like attractive, you know? And like I just want us to have like a good time together. Like that's what I want to see. But like everyone in fucking Rent a Girlfriend is fucking miserable all of the time. It's like if you couldn't actually imagine, like even if you're like in Kazuya's position, like he's like the best
he's like the most well off out of everyone, I think, in the cast.
And even then, it's like I don't want to fucking be this guy. I would never want to like. I would never want to be in Kazuya's position. And so, I thought like when I first watched Rent a Girlfriend that it would kind of like. See, I fell for the same bad anime defenses that I always talk about. I had hoped, and I had thought, because Kazuya was just such like an unbelievable like loser. I had thought that perhaps we were gonna get an arc where Kazuya like does self-improvement, but it becomes pretty quickly that that's not what's happening. But there are some people who will continue to insist that this is what Rent a Girlfriend is doing. I think I like this length for a skirt. I usually have 2. I'm actually not sure. I often get her. I often get details about Sakuna wrong. Oh, okay. This is. We'll get back to Rent a Girlfriend in a second, but I have to just say this. So like, like the name of like my isekai goddess, like Sakuna, right? It just means fish in Japanese, right? It was. I feel bad because Raghava warned me that this joke wouldn't work, but I did it anyway. But like at the beginning of Bullshit no Yusha, there's like the introduction of like the goddess of isekai, right? And it's like it's like a really, really, really pompous introduction of like how she's like the queen of kings of dimensions infinite and like the keeper of waifus and stuff like that. And I thought it would be really funny after that entire intro to just have her be named Fish, like a random word. Why is her name Fish? Right? But then I was like, maybe that's a little too on the nose. So I changed it to, so I was like, actually, I think my original idea was her name be Fish in Japanese. Like the words fish in Japanese was going to be her name. But I thought that was a little bit too on the nose. So I just named her Fish in Japanese, Sakuna. But like nobody has said, lol, that's hilarious, Mo. Probably because it's such like a contrived and weird joke that why would anyone think that? So, but it stuck. I like her name. So, but if you're ever wondering where this name came from, that is the origin story. It's a meme, like most of the things that I do. And then she's got like laces here, and then like I think laces down here. It really doesn't have to be. Oops, it doesn't have to be that. Special. Yeah. But yeah, Brainflakes is incredibly talented on the Family Tracker. When I make like the little jingles for like the show and stuff, I actually use LMMS. For most of my musical needs, which is like a MIDI program. Girlfriend re-show about a self-improvement. Yeah. Like, and the thing about Rent a Girlfriend is that it has all of the pieces to be really good and really honest, like heart to heart with like other men about like self-improvement. It has all the pieces are there. You have a well-meaning but like deeply flawed main character, right? You have these side characters who are like kind of forced into like his bullshit by like no fault of their own. You have like the social pressures of expecting to be able to like find like a girlfriend and like how that fucks with it. Like everything to make like a really good self-improvement story is there. and then the story just refuses to be good. It refuses to do anything interesting. It refuses to respect your time. It refuses to respect its own characters.
Yeah. Welcome to the NHK. It could have been Welcome to the NHK, but it decided to not be that. It decided to be like just insult nonsense.
I really love it when reactionaries say like incel means it doesn't mean anything anymore. They just use it as an insult. Like, no. Incel still means incel. It means the reactionary political tendency associated with men who can't get laid. That's what it means. And in that sense, Rent a Girlfriend definitely fulfills that. Oh man, there's like that one episode. The one where the dude stalks his crush. Kazuya stalks. The one where Kazuya stalks Chizuru. Actually, it's really kind of interesting how we call her Chizuru when that's like not her name. That's like her stage name when she's like going on dates. I think her real name is like In Jose or something. Yeah, that was like how do we radicalize an anime fan? I'll get to that in just a second. I want to finish this thought on Rent a Girlfriend. Yeah, well, but like that's like not her name. Like she has like a real name, and like Chizuru is just like the name she uses when she's dating. Like, and it's really interesting how Kazuya says like over and over again, "I want to get to know the real Chizuru," right? But like the real Chizuru is the quiet girl in glasses who just wants to get a good grade so that she can go to acting school, right? And we never see her, not once. We see Chizuru in girlfriend mode being like top tier waifu, as Giga puts it, like the top percentage of all waifus or whatever. But like the actual person, we never see. And so it's just super interesting how like Rent a Girlfriend wants to have its cake and eat it too. It wants to have like the thing of like, oh yeah, I totally care about my girlfriend, but it also just wants like this hyper idealized waifu nonsense. Okay, so how do we radicalize an anime fan? To be honest, it really depends on like where the anime fan is politically, in my opinion. If the anime fan is like one of those like reactionary types, like the kind who will, for example, make a 3-hour stream calling someone else a sophist. Nah, we don't have to reference that. If you don't know what that is, that's fine. But if you're like neo-Nazi adjacent, it might not be worth. But there are a lot of people who are anime fans who are either like kind of apolitical centrist types, or who are just kind of libs, but you know, who don't really think about it that much. And to be honest, I think the best way to radicalize people is to engage in like a twofold approach, right? You engage both how they're thinking. You engage both with their material needs. Like, what's the thing that really gets them the most? Do they like hate their job? Do they hate school? Are they like marginalized in some way? It really was like the worst thing. It really was the worst stream I think I've ever seen. Oh my god. But are they like, what's the thing that like gets them, right? And then you can try and like talk them into that. And the other thing is like, if they're anime fans, you engage with their hobby. So like, for example, if they really like a certain show or really don't like a certain show, and you're talking to them about it, you can both say, hey, this show is poorly written, but also if you think about it, isn't it kind of weird that it does like this societal thing? And if they're already kind of a little bit sympathetic to to like your point of view, that might get them to start thinking a little bit more politically than just whatever it is that they are. I'm gonna make a new layer for this. Ribbons, because her ribbons kind of I think that would be good. But I think the important thing to remember is that people are very different, and so if you try to put like a one-size-fits-all solution on like radicalizing people,
you will probably fail. I think that's the first thing. I think the second thing to also realize is that sometimes it is more, sometimes it's a better use of your time to find people who are already radicalized and like get stuff done with them than it is to try and turn a bunch of people who like hate you. I think ever since the whole thing, and I don't have any misgivings against Faraday Speaks, I think he's a rather I think the experience of being radicalized by the alt-right pipeline is like something that we have to talk about more. However, the one thing that I do resent Faraday Speaks for a little bit is that he turned... Yeah, we should.
But like, the one thing that Faraday Speaks did is that he like turned all leftist advocacy online into basically combating the quartering. And combating the quartering, while important, like we talked about this on the stream, it's like important to like counter like reactionaries and media and stuff. But like, it's not the only form of leftist advocacy that exists. And the whole alt-right pipeline thing made it seem as though that's like the only thing. And because of that, there's like a lot of people like
I guess, okay, I'll say the B word, like Vosh, who like turn what would be very promising leftist movements into basically pandering to the furthest right people and not appearing cringe, right?
But the thing is that on some level, leftism will always be a little bit cringe to people who aren't used to it, and that's okay, right? Because like liberal propaganda and conservative propaganda and fascist propaganda all have one common enemy, and it's us, right? So of course, a lot of our ideas are gonna sound jarring at first, but like that's okay. We shouldn't have to. We're not fascists. We don't have to hide what we believe. Let me merge down. We don't have to hide what we believe from people. We can say the thing that we want, which is we want the liberation of the working class, the emancipation of all oppressed people across the world, the end of Western imperialism. All these things are very good. And we can just say those openly. And we can just say them again and again and again until people start to get it. We don't have to have like, yeah. We don't have to be like one of those Russian dolls where like it's like liberalism, but then when you open it up, it's like socialism inside. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is that when you focus on those kinds of reactionaries, what you end up doing is you create leftist spaces that are more for like the least marginalized people than they are for like the people we're actually trying to like help, right? So like socialism that appeals to the sensibilities of rich people, socialism like anti-racism that appeals to the like the sentiments of like white people, like gender abolition that appeals to like cis men. Like what is this? Why? No, don't. It needs to be the other way around. And going back to the thing of like there's so much more we can do, like mutual aid online is like a whole thing. Like we can direct resources and attention and
money and like food and coats like to people who need it. Just online alone, it's a pretty wonderful platform. And so when people like Vosh make like deprogramming reactionaries like the only thing that you can do, I think it really hurts the movement more than it helps. Alrighty, so I am going to try and log off now and get some other things done. It was really, really nice having everyone here for this like test stream. Show people how negatively commercialism. Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, because a lot of people, even if they don't like capitalism, even if they don't like socialism, my bad, a lot of people agree that like commercialism is bad. So if you can start with this idea that like commercialism actually comes from capitalism, it's not just like an ethereal thing, you can get really far with that. So anyway, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Yeah, like I said, I've got a bunch of content coming up, so you'll hopefully, if all goes well, and my finals go well, and my grad school applications go well, there'll be a bunch of content, and I'll be like a very happy person by the end of the year. All right, yeah, you can just maybe finish it. Thanks. Oh yeah, sure. Have a good one, everybody.